Here we are then, getting ready to go racing here for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League here for round 9 of this 24 round season for season 14, as we're just getting going for the formation lap here. So it's going to be Badman starting this one on pole. Top 4, Badman, Dazza, Scott and Glenn are all on the medium tyres. We've got Ernie, Trago and G.C. going for quick starts here on the soft tyres right behind him. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. With obviously they'll be hot on the heels of the guys who are occupying those top 4 grid slots, and it should be an exciting first few laps here. But Badman, as is so often the case, the championship leader here once again taking his spot right at the pin here. As here we go then, moments away from the start of the Spanish Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League for season 14. Lights are on. And it's lights out and we are underway. Dazza got a slightly better start there than Badman off the line, but it looks like Badman's just ahead here coming down towards turn 1. Glenn's already got the jump on Scott up into 3rd place here as they come in towards the corner now, but Badman's got the lead around the outside as Glenn there taps the rear of Dazza going through turn 1, and Glenn there loses out to Scott, who gets back up into 3rd place. Draga there moving up a place here ahead of Ernie, and G.C. tries to attack on Ernie here as they come through this next corner, but oh, we've got a car in the background there. There's Matty Pitt. I think it's made contact there with somebody. He's out of the race. That's terminal damage there on the Mercedes on the opening lap of the race. The league owner and founder and admin here has unfortunately had an absolute calamity here at the start of the race. We're down to 15 drivers already. A safety car has not been deployed, so we're going to continue on without any safety cars, but it looks like we have got a VSC at the moment, as T's got a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. So that's very, very bad opening lap for both of the league owners here tonight, Matty and T, who one of them's out of the race, the other one with a race altering penalty here, as we now got C-Mac looking to the inside of Ernie, going down to the end of the straight into turn 9. He's going to look to try and go round him here into the final sector, but he also made the move on Rexy Boy as well. We've got Street Boy, they're moving ahead of Mango up into 11th place. We've also got White Shadow Hull battling with John. Oh no, as John there turns around and White Shadow tried to poke it up the inside, couldn't do so. It ends up losing out a load of time here. It's dropped down to the back of the pack here as White Shadow on this opening lap of the race. He's down well off with the rest of them at the moment in P15. There are the leaders though going into turn 1 at the moment, as you've got Ernie here keeping tabs with Glenn. Glenn is very close to the back of Trauger as well in that fight for 4th place at the moment, but I didn't see Glenn losing that place to Trauger. Trauger's managed to make that move somewhere on the opening lap. It wasn't in the first sector, it was after that. As in the meantime, we got Street Boy all over the back of T here down towards turn 5, a little bit too far back just at the moment, but Badman out the front's got the gap at just over a second over Dazza as they're coming through the second lap of the race here. And we got also Rexy Boy hot on the heels of his teammate G.C. at the moment. The 2 Ferraris currently running well within a second of each other right now. Street Boy looking to try and pile the pressure on the back of T. We'll get DRS down this little straight down towards turn 9. He just seems to be just a little bit too far back at the moment to pose a real threat into this corner. In the meantime, we've also got John attacking all over the back of Mango here into this part of the track, as Mango very wide in the distance there. You can see Street Boy getting ahead of T, and Dead Pixel was well out of shape there as they went through the corner, but Street Boy they're getting up into the points paying positions here ahead of the McLaren of T. Dazzler doing the fast lap of the race here on lap 2 of the race, but we got driver coming into the pits here, T coming in I presume to get that 10-second penalty done and out of the way. In the meantime, Glenn moving up the inside of Draga up into 4th place, and that is job done there for Glenn, having lost that position on the opening lap. He's started to make some gains here in this one. John looking to the inside of Mango into turn 1, a little bit too far away just at the moment, but he's knocking on the door here of the Williams driver's 12th place, as T still in the pits at the moment. He has not moved. Seems to be a lengthy stop there for T at the moment, as John there looking to the inside into turn 5, and the Mango there a little bit wide there off of the racing line, but John unable to capitalise just at the moment. In the meantime, we've also got Dead Pixel trying to force initiative with Street Boy at the moment in this fight for P10, but for the time being, Street Boy holding on to that one then. Badman out the front, his gap to Dazza currently a second. There they all are going through turn 9, as John appears to have just dropped off the back of Mango here. I think he might have gone wide coming out of turn 8, so he's lost a bit of time there. White Shadow closing up onto the back of him in that battle for what's going to be 13th place once that starts to materialise. Dazza just dropped out of a second here to Badman. Badman's keeping the gap decent, although saying that, Dazza's not letting him right off into the sunset at the moment. Scott's just lost a bit of time here to these two over the course of the last couple of laps. Glenn still leading a train of cars here. Drauga, Ernie, C-Mac, G.C. Rexy Boy keeping just about with these guys as well here in 9th place. Street Boy's got their Pixel Mango on the back of him at the moment. These three battling it out over 10th place for the time being, as their Pixel looks pretty close here through turn 3, 4, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Hard to yeah, I can't really count, sorry, but yeah, anyway, we've currently got Badman leading the race by just over a second here ahead of Dazza at the moment. We've got Mango there moving ahead of Dare Pixel up into 11th place, so Dare Pixel there dropping a place here on this lap. Mango's been hassling him now for a couple of laps and has got that one done. Glenn still can't shake off the likes of Scott. Sorry, still can't shake off the likes of Drauga and Ernie at the moment. He's not on the pace of Badman, Dazza or Scott. The top three are spread out pretty much at the moment. They're not really in a battle, and Drauga's coming into the pits here at the end of lap 4, so a very early stop here for Drauga. So getting those soft tyres off very early indeed. Ernie's still keeping tabs with Glenn into turn 1. Glenn on the medium tyres. Obviously the top three also on the medium tyres. The mediums definitely seem like the favourable race tyre, even over a shorter stint here by the looks of it. So the soft is more of a tyre that you just want to get done and out of the way. It's not the kind of tyre that you really want to find yourself lumbered with, so you kind of just want to obviously tick that box, use 2 different tyre compounds. The hard tyre, in my experience on this track, is chronically slow and painful to drive, so we're unlikely to see that. The only real chance we would have had of seeing that would have been drivers who fancy their chances of going the entire race distance on them from a very early point if they'd had like a incident or something, but we didn't see that. We saw T coming into the pits quite early but didn't jump at that opportunity, because you don't get any tyre delta because of the fact that it is so much slower than the other tyres, especially at that point in the race. It's not going to gain you anything at all. All it's going to do is mainly make one less pit stop, but your pace over the course of the race is going to be horrendous in comparison, as we see Glenn into the pits here in the lap 5, getting the medium tyres off, which is a surprising move there for Glenn. Now what tyres is he going to put on? Is he going to put the hards on? I wouldn't be surprised, you know, just based on the timing of this pit stop. He is putting the hards on, so he'll have to do 28 laps, and he had a bit of damage there. His front wing has been changed, which might explain why he was struggling to pull away from Ernie, C-Mac and G.C. as well. So he comes out a few seconds behind Drauga, who obviously put the medium tyres on the previous lap. He's come out well ahead of T, who's the other driver who's been into the pits in these opening a few laps of the race. But Dazza has really closed up onto the back of Badman. The gap was staying at around a second a couple of laps ago. Dazza's now got himself well within striking distance here, and Badman could have a fight for this win here tonight, as we got Ernie still trying to fend off C-Mac, G.C. and Rexy Boy at the moment, as they're fighting out over 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th places. Also got Mango here still keeping John at bay in that fight for P9. We've got C-Mac there getting ahead of Ernie up into 4th place as they're going through the final sector of the lap. So C-Mac there must have found a gap. I assume Ernie probably went wide through one of those right-handers, but after turn 9, 10 or 11, but nonetheless we've got Badman here with Dazza all over the back of him. Dazza a little bit too far away into turn 1 that time around, but I tell you what, he's waiting here. He's looking to pounce at the moment, as we got Ernie there and G.C. Ernie getting around him up into P5 again. So G.C. unable to make that move stick there into turn 1 for the time being, as they now come through turn 3 or 4 or whatever it is into this next right-hander. There's their Pixel into the pits now at the end of lap 6 as well. So lots of early pit stops, tyre wear proving to be an ever-present impedance here tonight. But Dazza well within a second of Badman as they come to the end of the straight once again. See Rexy Boy getting ahead of G.C. up into P6. And that is a move for position there for Rexy Boy. Matty Pitt there leaving the session, no surprise there to see that one. Really struggling here tonight. Obviously that first lap disaster there for him, as we see Ernie into the pits here at the end of lap 7, getting the soft tyres off. So that's just 2 drivers now left out on the circuit who started on the soft tyres here tonight. That is G.C. on Street Boy. Street Boy, ever the driver who will try and do these almost impossible tyre strategies. He's the type of guy who will do sort of like 10 laps around this sort of track on a set of soft tyres and then put the hards on and try and go to the end. But it's going to be a very tricky task indeed to do that here tonight. That's for sure. In the meantime, the battle for the lead continues to rage on. Dazza really putting the pressure here on the championship leader at the moment. Gap only 3-4 tenths there as they went into turn 9. So if Dazza can stay close through these final couple of corners, then he'll have the DRS down the straight and will be able to potentially force a move here on Badman. Badman obviously looking to try and extend his gap over Glenn. Glenn not having the doesn't have the pace tonight of Badman or Dazza or Scott for that matter, although his damage might have potentially had a hand in what we saw in the opening stages of the race. Here comes Dazza then on the back of Badman. He's got good closing speed here, looking to the inside into turn 1, a little bit too far back, and he's going to have to wait a little bit longer here to try and make that move. In the meantime, we've got G.C. into the pits here at the end of lap 8, so he's coming in here for a new set of tyres. Is it going to be the hard tyres? Is he going to one-stop this? It looks like he is going to be putting the hard tyres on. Whether or not it's going to be a one-stop remains to be seen, but he joins Glenn on those hard tyres. Glenn is on the back of a train of cars here. White Shadow and Ernie. Ernie's been into the pits as well as Glenn. Is on 2 lap pressure tyres, as here comes Glenn now making the move on White Shadow and continuing to keep the pressure here on Ernie. G.C. comes out a couple of seconds behind them in 13th place at the moment. And he'll be looking to try and clear White Shadow as quickly as he can. In fact, he's already done so. But we have got to go back to the leaders here, because Dazza piling the pressure here on the championship leader Badman as they come through turn 9 once again. And if he can get a good exit here out of this final corner, he's going to be primed to pounce going into turn 1. But Badman does appear to be pretty quick through these fast corners, which is keeping him in good stead when they come into turn 1, because obviously he's far enough ahead coming into the DRS zone that he's got that bit of a cushion here over the Alpine. Nonetheless, Dazza closing in once again here down towards turn 1, but just too far away to have any realistic chance of making that move. C-Mac now into 3rd place because Scott's into the pits at the end of lap 9. Now what tyres do we see going on the Williams? Into the box comes Scott. And more hard tyres. So obviously on the F124 game, I don't know about 25, but F124 game I remember driving hard tyres around this circuit were painful. But maybe the longevity of them could be the what makes the deal here tonight. Scott's come out a little way ahead of Ernie, Glenn and G.C. The other drivers who have come into the pits, so Scott certainly has made that strategy work quite nicely here. He's got much fresher tyres than those guys, so you have the advantage over the course of this stint. Dazza again looking to seize the initiative here on the back of Badman. Didn't get a great exit though, had a little bit of a correction there. That's just going to give Badman a little bit more of a reprieve, but Dazza very close here. Half a second as they come into the DRS zone. This is the closest he's been, I reckon. And he's going to once again have a little look here into turn 1. He's going to look to try and send one up the inside. This would be a heck of a move from there as Badman keeps the momentum there around the outside. And they're side by side. They're coming into turn 3. And Dazza up the inside makes that move absolutely brilliantly there up into the lead. He had the perseverance there to keep it pinned, keep his foot in, and had the inside for the next corner. Dazza here takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. And now Dazza has, well, he's got control of this race, but Badman's going to have to fight back here if he wants to well, if he wants to win this race here tonight. As we got brief yellow flags there which have very quickly subsided. Mango into the pits here at the end of lap 10. We're watching the battle for the lead though, because Badman's going to have a chance to try and go for the immediate reply here. Is he going to wait for the main straight to try and make a move back here on Dazza? But what a battle we've got in store here tonight then between these two. And is Badman going to have a chance to potentially go for the immediate reply here as they come down the start finish? Straight through the final corner we go. Here comes Badman once again. As he's closing. DRS open. Now to the inside, and Badman retakes the lead. He's been leading the race almost to the entirety. Dazza led one lap. Now Badman says, alright, you've had your fun, Dazza. Now I'm going to retake control again. But Dazza, I'm sure, is not going to be done yet. He's looking back to the outside here as they come towards turn 4. Looking to go around the long way here. Badman's covered that off for the time being. But these two here having a really clean battle out the front. Really tidy and fair between these two. And hopefully these guys can keep it tidy for the rest of the race, because this is absolutely brilliant stuff here from them. Dazza here on the back of Badman as they come down the start finish straight once again. Is he going to do that move he did 2 laps ago? No, thinks better of it going into turn 1 this time around. See Scott here getting ahead of Drauga up into P5. We've got John into the pits here at the end of lap 12. Oh, it's Pixel there, squeezes ahead of Street Boy going through the penultimate corner, as there is Mango there coming in. Sorry, White Shadow Hull even going into the pits just in front of them. John's also in the pits right now. As Badman's just managed to extend the gap a little bit over Dazza over the course of this lap. Almost a second now between these two. Can Dazza once again ridding that gap through these final few corners and put the pressure here on the race leader again? Streetboy in the meantime all over the back of Der Pixel as they're coming out of turn 5, and looks like Street Boys managed to make that move there up into the points paying positions once again here. Mango now looking to try and knock their Pixel while he's down if he possibly can as they come through turn 8. But he got terrible momentum there, did Mango. Seems like that car really hasn't got much coming out of that corner there, and just was nowhere near in the DRS zone. Also didn't help that their Pixel had the DRS on Street Boy, which was just inhibiting him from really being able to close that gap through that part of the track. Badman still leading the race out the front with a slender lead over Dazza at this point. We've got Drauga also on the back of Scott in the fight for P5. Dazza here still pretty close to the back of Badman as they come down the straight once again. DRS once again deployed with battery being used up and up and up. Here we come down towards turn 1, just a bit too far back again here for Dazza, and nothing doing in that one for now. Only a bit too far back on Drauga as they come out the front corner. Oh, saying that though, Drauga got a horrible run there, and Ernie's going to pick up this move easily here with the DRS and the slipstream, and the Sauber there moving up into P6 there ahead of the Mercedes. So that was all because of Drauga running a bit wide there coming out the final corner, and that was what gave Ernie that impetus there to make that manoeuvre. Street Boys just managed to break a second of a gap here to Mango, so it's going to be out of that DRS threat as they come down the straight, I think. the two leaders here. Once again, coming down the little straight towards turn 9. Gap just under 4/10 under braking. We've seen it around this sort of range before, and on previous occasions Dazza has been known to try and move into turn 1. He's succeeded on one occasion so far. Is he going to make that 2 this time? No, he's not, because Badman is into the pits here at the end of lap 15. So that now releases Dazza into clean air. Badman's going to get an undercut. He'll obviously come up a couple of seconds probably clear of Dazza, at least, if Dazza comes in on this lap. If not, Dazza will be a bit further behind, but with a more healthier tyre advantage, as Badman putting the hard tyres on. And I think almost certainly one stopping here in this race. We see C-Mac off and away. Got Badman here on the back of Ernie once again here down the little straight. But just a little bit too far back to make a move there on his fresh tyres. Obviously he'll be wanting to clear this Sauber as soon as he possibly can here. Dazza into the pits at the end of lap 15, or 16 should I say. So he comes in one lap after Badman. And Dazza also putting the hard tyres on, so he's going to have one lap fresher tyres than Badman, but he's going to be a little way behind, and seems to actually be a big bit way behind at the moment. So Clen is on the hard tyres, having popped those on a few laps ago. He's 2 seconds behind Badman at the moment, but Clen obviously has got to pit again, you would think. So unless we have a safety car, it's looking like Clen's going to be probably out of this fight here for a potential win here tonight. But Scott currently the leader. 6 lap older tyres here than Badman. I reckon Badman will hunt him down quite quickly here in this stint. I wonder if Scott's going to try and go to the end and do 24 laps on these hard tyres. It is possible, but it would be an extremely difficult task to get those to the end. The safe bet would definitely be to come in for another stop. Or whether or not we're going to see Scott playing a safe bet tonight remains anyone's guess. But Badman here's got the DRS. Will be a little bit too far back here to make a move into turn 1, but he's going to get that little bit closer here, and it's going to put a bit of pressure here on the back of Scott. Badman knows he needs to get ahead of this Williams as quickly as he can to continue his momentum here in this race, in his quest to try and get the race victory. Obviously Scott on a different strategy, isn't in a realistic position to try and keep him behind at this point, so it's going to be a matter of time here, as these guys 3 seconds clear of Ernie. Clen is only a second behind Ernie at the moment, and probably at this point in the stint with better tyres. Dazza currently 3.5 seconds behind Clen at this point. Dazza 7 seconds behind Badman, so he lost an absolute heap of time over the pit window. I wonder if he made a mistake on his in lap or his out lap maybe even. But Dazza nowhere to be seen at the moment. Badman though has got the Williams of Scott just in front of him, which could hold him up a little bit and could give Dazza a bit of a reprieve here. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres. It's not going to make the world of difference, but Badman's still unable to negotiate the Williams here, and Scott still holding on to this lead very, very narrowly at this moment in time. I tell you what, Dazza's fallen back even more over the course of this lap, so he's really struggling on these hard tyres so far. He's now nearly 8 seconds behind Badman, so he's had an absolute mare of a lap here on lap 18. We can see Ernie into the pits here, getting those medium tyres off, which he put on lap 8. But we've got Badman here making the move for the lead of the race there on Scott, and that was a move which he needed to make there and then, otherwise he was going to risk losing even more time. But with Dazza seemingly struggling at the moment, it could be a Bit of a walkover here for Badman. Daz is not even really gaining on Clen despite having 11 lap fresher tyres, so doesn't bode well for Daz's hopes of a win here on Purple Sector debut tonight. Still a podium, very much on the cards though. But Badman here coming through the final few corners and about to complete lap 19 of this race, as we're about a second ahead of Scott now, so looking like he'll be out of DRS. Obviously Scott hasn't really got the tyres to fight him at the moment. Clen currently 4.5 seconds behind Scott, only 4 lap older tyres than Scott. He could potentially close the gap and get himself in the battle for the podiums here tonight, with a fair way to go yet. And we believe both of those two should have to pit again. See Dare Pixel here coming into the pits. So we're getting those medium tyres off. Got to put those on lap 10. And here on lap 20 puts a set of hard tyres on, which should get to the end of the race, all being well. Dazza now starting to close the gap a little bit on Clen here. He's also gained a little bit on Badman, but not much. So Dazza's starting to get these hard tyres to work, but I reckon it's going to be P2 for him tonight. I reckon he'll be able to get Scott and Clen, but Badman I think is off in the distance here. Dazza, though, a creditable debut so far. I don't know if he did track limits there. Could have been a warning there potentially on the exit of the final corner. But as we start lap 21, he's continuing to hunt down the two-time champion here in the Aston Martin. See Ernie getting ahead of Scott, Rexy Boy should I say, up into 8th place on his slightly fresh hard tyres. I was saying that he's just let him back through again, so I don't know if maybe Ernie's taking responsibility for maybe a bit of contact there, but he's just waved the Ferrari back ahead again, so Rexy Boy back up into 8th place. Not quite sure what was going on there. In the meantime, Dazza sizing up Clen on his 11 lap fresher hard tyres. This should be an easy move, but where's he going to do it? Is he going to wait for the start finish straight? Probably a wise move, because if it made the move there, he'd then be giving Clen DRS down the straight, and then that could let a car with slower tyres past him again into turn 1, and then he has to spend another lap trying to regroup. But Clen into the pits, so is Scott, and these two I would have thought we'd be putting a set of hard tyres on and going to the end of the race from here. So Scott into the box there, he's putting another set of hard tyres on, and Clen has done exactly the same, and off and away those two go. Clen can Clen chase Scott down, and he's closing laps. Now he's got same age tyres. We see Ernie and Rexy Boy moving ahead of Clen, so Clen down 9th place at the moment in this final stint. He's got drivers in front of him with slower tyres, so should have a chance here of maybe gaining some places. G.C.'s definitely got to pit again here in this race as well. That'll be a free position there for him. C-Max had a quiet but impressive race so far. Currently standing on the verge of a potential podium, although Scott only 8 seconds behind on 6 lap fresher tyres. That's going to be a close one towards the end of this race, I would have thought. At this moment, C-Mac there running in 3rd place, having just got ahead of G.C. Which you see that running a little bit wide there going through turn 9 on those very worn out hard tyres at this point. G.Cedar though isn't giving up. I tell you what, he's got a heck of a run here down the straight. Into turn 1 he goes, looking down the inside of C-Mac. Is it going to be job done there for G.Cedar? C-Mac keeping it around the outside there, and G.Cedar managing to swoop around beautifully there, back up into third place. This is hurting C-Mac's race because he knows that he's on 7 lap pressure tyres and should be able to pull away, but that DRS so powerful, and G.Cedar stayed close enough to be able to go for that immediate reply, as White Shadow Hull's got a 3-second penalty here. Street Boy into the pits at the end of lap 22. And the world keeps on spinning as Badman here, 9-second gap over Dazzo, is continuing to pull away bit by bit here. Badman looking in control here tonight, and barring any major catastrophes will be taking yet another win here in season 14. He's looking almost unstoppable this season. The one race where it looked like it might get away from him was Monaco, where Clen seemed to have the pace, and then the safety car came out towards the end of the race, which really destroyed Clen's chances. I mean, as if Badman needed any luck this season, you know. He's been a quickest driver, he's been probably the best driver in the league, been getting win after win after win, and then he gets something like that handed on to him on a plate. Very reminiscent of the days when you'd see Vettel winning every race and he'd also get the luck, and maybe even Verstappen in 2023, to be honest with you. Even the tracks where his car wasn't the quickest, he always seemed to get the luck. And that's why he ended up winning 19 out of 22 races, because he was the best driver in the best car, and even the times when he wasn't, when his car wasn't the best, you know, it was just a foregone conclusion. But C-Mac here on the back of G.Cedar in the battle for third place. So he's looking to try and get that position back, which G.Cedar duly managed to retake there into turn 1. We see Dare Pixel was left the session, having crashed out of the race, with just 10 laps left to go here for this Spanish Grand Prix at Purple Sector. We've got C-Mac very close here on the back of G.Cedar as they come through the final couple of corners here. As here we go then, C-Mac once again. Going to have DRS here down the straight. 0.4 of a second is the gap. Surely he's going to get this one done. He's closing now to the inside. G.Cedar sees him coming, can't do anything about it. C-Mac there retakes the position here, although goes a little bit deep into the corner. G.Cedar going for a cutback here, and they're still going to be side by side, and G.Cedar beautifully saw that one coming. Goes a little bit wide though, going through turn 3. That's going to give C-Mac a potential opportunity here to come back up the inside, as they now come through into 4. On the grass a little bit there is C-Mac here as he tries to minimise the distance around the corner, and they're still side by side here. G.Cedar has the inside line here for turn 5 and just about clings onto that one. What a great battle this is between these two at the moment though, as they're about to put a lap on one of the back markers here. But great fight here between these guys. Is G.Cedar going to get the DRS here on the back marker? If he is, then this will be a saving grace here for him. He is going to get the DRS, but if they pass this back marker before they get to the final corner, then G.Cedar won't have that DRS to defend into turn 1. So C-Mac, if he can stay close here, will have a good chance to make this move. What's going to happen here? I think G.Cedar will get that DRS because he is behind the back marker as they go through into the final corner. So he will be able to use that to defend. But I tell you what, C-Mac's pretty damn close. But G.Cedar's DRS does help him out massively there. He's pulling away from C-Mac down the straight, and holds on into turn 1 for the time being. So we've got Badman here coming towards the end of lap 26 with just 7 laps left to go here in this Spanish Grand Prix. So we got 8 seconds at the moment as they start lap 27 of the race. Badman still in control. Daz has closed a little bit over the last couple of laps. Got the gap down to 8 seconds from 9. C-Mac here poised to make a move here for the podium place as always. He goes wide there, going through the final corner. Got onto the gravel there on the outside just before the final corner, and that's lost him time here, and it's just dropped him out of striking distance here from G.C. for the time being. Scott there still waiting in the background behind these guys as well. There's Ernie, Drauger, Klen a little way off with them and not really making much of an impression at this point in the race, as John has got ahead of a tee up into 12th place. John on those fresh soft tyres there, making a nice move by the looks of it. But G.C. and T-Mac battling has allowed Scott to just eat that little bit closer here. I reckon G.C. is going to try and go to the end. We've seen G.C. do this many times. He's one of the tyre conservation masters of this Purple Sector F1 League. We've seen it before, we've seen it today, and we'll see it I'm sure again. But C-Mac a little bit too far back here on G.C. going into turn 9. And G.C. a little bit wide there as he went through the corner. But C-Mac staying pretty close here at the moment. So they come then through the final corner once again. And C-Mac this time is going to have a golden opportunity. G.C.'s got no DRS on any back markers this time around. As here comes C-Mac there. Now look to the inside as Scott is going to try and follow him through as well. They're going to be 3 wide here into turn 1. Scott around the outside turns in. And G.C. with nowhere to go is meeting the sandwich there. Scott managing to get both of them there on his much fresher tyres up into 3rd place. And Scott there with a lovely move around the outside. Had to have the faith there in G.C. I'll tell you what, if G.C. didn't back out of that one, that would have been an aircraft crash there between those two. But Scott does manage to get that move up into the podium places here. It's been a really good drive here from Scott tonight. I'm sure he'll be pretty chuffed with that. See Badman here putting a lap on one of the back markers there. That's John, who is just making his way past here. Scott's already pulled over a second to C-Mac and G.C. G.C. though keeping tabs with C-Mac at the moment in this fight for 4th place. Is he going to have a chance to come back at him here potentially? So here they come then around the final corner once again here to start lap 29 of this race. With just 5 laps left to go here tonight at Barcelona. Klen with the fastest lap of the race there, starting to find a bit of a groove here on these hard tyres. G.C. there making a move again there on C-Mac down into turn 1 and up into 4th place he goes once again. We've seen this a few times now. Klen all over the back of Ernie at the moment as they're coming through turn 3. You've also got G.C. C-Mac and Ernie right in front of Klen here, so he'll also be able to see Scott in the distance, although Scott probably a bit too far ahead here. I reckon that actually Scott's got a 3-second penalty here, so Klen might be looking at that. I mean, the thing is, he's got 3 cars in the way, so Scott's got a prime opportunity here to try and pull away and have that gap enough to be safe here by the end of the race. But at the moment, Scott living dangerously there with that 3-second penalty at the moment. Klen nowhere near close enough, but we don't know what's going to happen here in these closing laps of the race. G.C. still has P4 at the moment, but C-Mac, Ernie and Klen are coming for him at this point, as they've got 4 laps left to go here in this Spanish Grand Prix here tonight. G.C.'s got C-Mac and Ernie right behind him here. Klen also looking to try and pick up the pieces if he possibly can, as Ernie there climbing over the curb there on the inside of turn 3. Oh, it's Ernie a little bit wide there, and Klen is going to seize on that. Didn't need a second invitation. Klen there moving up into P6, and that's job done there for him. Now he's got C-Mac and G.C. to negotiate. Scott is already well up the road, 4 seconds ahead here of Klen at this point, so Klen's got to work on his hands if he wants to try and get a podium here tonight. He's got a lot of work to do here in these final 3.5 laps of the race, but Glenn looking to try and negotiate this Red Bull and Ferrari first. Badman still out the front leading the race. He's got John on the back of him here. The back marker on his fresh, or not fresh anymore, but they are soft tyres, which will easily take him to the end of the race. And John, to be fair, is sticking to him pretty impressively, you've got to say, on those soft tyres, albeit, you know, they're 10 lap fresher than Badman's, but still, he's doing an alright job here as John at the moment. We can see there we've got T in the pits, or no, sorry, not, yeah, T in the pits, just coming out of the pits in the middle of a battle here of some of the cars who are a lap ahead of him. Clen's now got ahead of G.C. up into 5th place. We can see there the salvo there of Ernie getting out of shape, and it's dropped behind all of these guys here. So G.C. now ahead of Ernie, back up into 6th place. Glenn now on the back of C-Mac. He's 3.8 seconds behind Scott at the moment, is Glenn. So Glenn could still be on for a podium here tonight. The 2-time champion could be a damage limitation here after not the greatest of races here for him tonight. It has to be said. I mean, he's always up there fighting with Badman, almost always, but tonight hasn't had the pace of him. The only driver who's been able to keep Badman in sight tonight is Dazza, and he lost him over the pit window. Badman won this race over the pit window. It was those couple of laps during that period of the race where he definitely made the difference here tonight. Glenn is all over the back of C-Mac here as they come through the final sector of the lap, as they're about to start the penultimate lap of this race. Ernie's got back in of G.C. Although G.C.'s up the inside trying to come back at him here as they're going to fight it out down the straight. In the meantime, Glenn now poised to try and make the move on C-Mac, but C-Mac has lost heaps of time to Scott over the course of this lap. Glenn has now got 5 seconds behind Scott, which means he needs to make up 2 seconds over these next 2 laps of the race. I think that the podium may have just slipped away here for Glenn, as we've got G.C. there trying to get back at Ernie, but Ernie's got that one done there and has made it stick up into 6th place, so he's got that position back which he lost a lap ago. As Badman, the race leader, with a lap and a half left to go. Can Glenn close the gap to Scott? It's already down to 4.2. We'll have to have a look at the end of this lap and see if it's going to be realistic for Glenn to be able to close that gap to Scott. Scott with a 3-second penalty, which is going to be added to his time at the end, but Glenn currently absolutely flying right now. Clearly a little bit quicker than Scott at this point in the race. Is he that much quicker though that he can end up getting within 3 seconds and potentially getting a podium here tonight? He's got the gap already over a second here to C-Mac, so he's out of DRS threat to the likes of C-Mac, Ernie, and in fact Ernie's dropping off at the back of C-Mac as well at this point. But Glenn here 4 seconds behind Scott. We'll have a look at the time as they come over the line here in a moment, but Scott there going through the final corner. Badman is on the final lap of the race here. Let's have a look. So Glenn 4.1 the gap. He's got to gain 1.1 seconds, just over a second he's got to gain on this final lap of the race if he wants to finish on the podium here tonight. Scott's just got to bring it home. Badman in the meantime though got a few corners left to go. The gaps are kind of just spreading out a little bit here in the final lap of the race. Dazza's now within 8 seconds of Badman. What could have been if he hadn't have had that sloppy pit window period of the race. But Badman here down towards turn 9 for the final time into the final sector of the final lap, and it's going to be yet another win for Badman as Dazza gets a 3-second penalty here on the final lap, maybe going for fastest lap, who knows. Well, they're saying that he's been on his tyres for a while, probably not, but Badman here with just these 2 corners left to go, and he's going to extend his gap in the championship. It's going to be an almost insurmountable level here to Glenn at this point in the season after round 9. Badman takes the checkered flag and wins the Spanish Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula 1 League. It's going to be Dazza over the line to take 2nd place here tonight, with Scott coming around to complete the podium. But Dazza, a massive shout out on debut here tonight at Purple Sector, and has got off the mark brilliantly here in his podium pursuits here at Purple Sector. Scott over to complete the podium, with Glenn out of the final corner to finish over in 4th place in the end. C-Mac P5 ahead of Ernie in 6th, with G.C. over in 7th place. Draga in 8th. As we see some of the lap cars crossing the line there. John and T have crossed the line in 12th and 13th places respectively. White Shadow Hole just coming around the final corner just behind Rexy Boy, who's going to finish in 9th place on the lead lap, with White Shadow Hole right behind him there, finishing in 14th place, a lap behind him. As we've got Street Boy coming into the final corner now. It's going to be our final point in the classification here for Street Boy, and Mango will be the last driver to cross the line as he's just coming into the final corner now. and it's going to be an 11th place here for Mango, and that's going to be that for tonight for the Spanish Grand Prix here at Purple Sector. But Badman once again taking the plaudits here at Barcelona, and looking at a formidable proposition here for the rest of this season. I tell you what, he's going to take some beating here, and Glenn has really got his work cut out. It's going to be a case, I think it's going to be a dominant season at this rate from Badman. Can anyone stop him? As that is that for tonight, everybody. Thanks to the Purple Sector drivers as always for some great action on the track. Thanks to the Purple Sector League for having me, and we'll see you for the next one, guys. Thursday night, round 10 of the season, which I'm on the spot now, I can't remember where it is, but anyway, we'll be back on Thursday for the next round. I'll see you guys then. Take it easy. Good night.